Welcome to the A Train Show. And now here's your host, the A Train, Arlington Lane.
Let's try it again. Welcome to the A Train Show. This is the A Train, Arlington Lane. Kind of found out I was muted a little bit, but that's okay. You know what day it is. It's Monday. It's Association Monday, so you know how we get down with the A, which it could be WNBA, it could be the NBA, so we get it in on today with the A Train Show and Association Monday. All right. So before I get started, I want to make sure I got myself situated. Boom, we present the A Train Show. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, sir, as well. You know, we do this thing every Monday here at 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on Fuel Sports Network. We get it in. Our power. I'm gonna be like some of them preachers that be in the pulpit. I won't be before you long. Okay. So, and it'll go by pretty quick when we get with the conversation today. So make sure that you are tuned in. Hey, share this to your friends wherever you may be. You can make sure that you check out Fuel Sports Network on your Roku televisions and devices, and also your Amazon Fire Stick and devices, the Fire Stick devices as well. You can find the app, search Fuel Sports Network. All right. So, as you all know, the NBA playoffs is here. You know, we've been going on. This is now round 2. And so far, these series have lived up to the hype. I don't know what it's going to mean for the ratings themselves. But what I do know right now is that we got some great series here. I was looking at the Minnesota-Denver game yesterday, and what I could see, and Minnesota has a lot of work to do. And I'm not saying that just because they were up 2-0 and they dropped the last games. I'm saying that for this reason, that if you're going to be one, you're going to upset champs, you got to play like you're the champs. How you let Denver to your house after you went into their house and stole 2 games, came back and ripped both games from you at home. You start playing more on your heels, even though you were up in the series. You played way back on them heels, man. Like, why? I don't understand that. When you're up 2-1, you have to be more aggressive. You have to be actually the smarter team here. And game 3, I really thought was the pivotal game for the Minnesota Timberwolves, where they had to knock off Denver to put way more pressure on Denver to get back into the series. And they fell flat in both games. If I'm not mistaken, they did not have a lead. They didn't have a lead at all in those last 2 games. They came out completely flat. Like, you can't do that when you're up 2-0. Like, you went into Denver, y'all had a game plan, and y'all did not stick to that game plan. I don't know if it was the 4 days in between Monday through Friday, and it seemed like it went the Denver's way. And then what made matters worse is that in game 2, I'm going to call him one today. This goon right here got away with murder. Yep, I want you to look at him very well. Jamal Murray threw an object on the court, only got hit with a $100,000 fine. He tried to hit a ref. But you know what? The NBA was like, we need him. We need him because we don't have much to put out there. You got Anthony Edwards. If y'all want to sit here and play those types of games, then I'm going to need you to set the example. You need to go ahead and you could at least suspended him for a game and see if Denver could really bounce back without his services. But they chose to slap him on the wrist for $100,000. Now, what if somebody had gotten hurt on? Now he was like, it's just a heating pad. If somebody would have slipped on that pad, or if they actually got hit with the pad in the middle of play. They were playing at the time. There was no stoppage, none of that. But they allowed Jamal Murray to play. And that was just unbelievable to me. And that was so wrong. So wrong. And I hate to even say it. I'm ashamed, but that's, and I shouldn't be surprised with it. It's nothing new for what the association does. The association does basically what it wants to do, the same way with the other leagues like the NFL, NHL, and Major League Baseball. And you wonder why their leaders are the worst in sports. I'm talking about all four of them. All four of them. They're all about money at this point. And that's going to continue down this railroaded path, all puns intended, when we talk about what goes on with leadership and punishment. It's punishing athletes for something that they blatantly did, and you slap them on the wrist with fines, lets me know that this is nothing but money for them. You don't want to make things interesting, because then if it does that, then it's a huge problem. You let Mike Malone get in the face of an official. But I'm going to use this as an example. I saw yesterday Ollie Marmol from the St. Louis Cardinals wasn't even saying something. He looked at the umpire. The umpire looked at him. They started shouting. Next thing you know, when he got to his face, it was a quick hook. He was gone. Just that fast. As soon as he got to his face. But Mike Malone can get in a rep's face, screaming, yelling, and spitting on him, and he still is able to participate in the matchup. Golly. I don't know what to say after that. I really don't. I'm going to touch a little bit more on this, but I'm going to take a quick break. But when I come right back, I'm going to touch a little bit more on what's going on in the NBA playoffs, okay? I guess not. I'll touch a little bit more on what's going on in the NBA playoffs. Dallas going up 2-1, and of course Boston going up 2-1, and seeing how well they can get where they are. All right, so this is the A Train Show, and you are checking in right here on Fuel Sports Network. So we'll be right back after this.
me, who could stop me? I'm in the zone, competition's none in a league of my own. All about the W, I'ma bring it home. When it's over with, I'ma be the king of the...
Welcome back to the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. If you're watching television right now, Pat McAfee has Austin Rivers on his show right now. And I bring that up for this reason. That was a spat. Austin Rivers made some comments recently about certain NBA players will be able to play in the NFL. And then James Jones on FS1's television show Speak said that Austin Rivers couldn't play in the NFL, and that and started making personal attacks on Austin Rivers. And then it just became a stupid beef after that. He took the comments and wind up Austin AR-25 is what he was known as. Austin went after James Jones's career basically, and was like, dude, I wasn't even talking about myself. All I said was there was players in the league that could play in the NFL, right? So that happened. And I know currently he's having this conversation right now as we speak about that matter. And so I wonder if James Jones is going to respond today on the show. He probably will, just to and keep the beef going, even though there shouldn't even be a beef. But it was kind of interesting how Austin kind of ripped him to shreds. You can go online because it's there. It's they haven't deleted it and taken it down. But I just find it funny that that conversation came about, and then this came about during the Dallas, I think it was the Dallas Oklahoma series. This came on from the other day. Yeah, you see him. That's Patrick Mahomes, right? This is what they had to say about that.
There's been this crazy debate about NBA players playing in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, unsolicited, just turned to Hubie and I, said Lou Dort could play in the NFL. I don't know if he was kidding or serious, but he said he could play linebacker.
I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm going to let you hear it again.
Players playing in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, unsolicited, just turned to Hubie and I, said Lou Dort could play in the NFL. I don't know if he was kidding or serious, but he said he could play linebacker.
So he said that, that he could play, that Lou Dort could play in the NFL. If you've seen Lou Dort is pretty yoked. And he looked like he could go around and straight up hit somebody and knock them clean out. And, the broadcasters didn't know if he was kidding or not. But can you see any NBA players currently in the game today, right now, that could step on an NFL field and do what they're doing? Zion Williamson could do it, I think, if he put on some pads and he wanted to get hit a little bit. but it is a totally different game that it is in the NBA. It is. I mean, come on, man. You all know this. Like, it's really nothing to it. But I don't even know how that even intensified into where it is now. Like, they just was comments, and they went down a deep, dark path that I don't even think they were even supposed to go down. Like, for real, man. Like, all right, we moved on from it. Hopefully everybody else will move on from it. But I don't know. That was too much for me. Like, for real, man. It was like, why? Why? And I'm hoping that, again, this ends. It doesn't need to intensify anymore. He says maybe a tight end or receiver, they would have to be able to take a hit and make a tackle. You got to remember a lot of football players play basketball and vice versa. Yeah, Tony Gonzalez, Terrell Owens could hoop. Antonio Gates was a guy that did that. Julius Peppers could play both football and basketball. He was a better football player than basketball player, but he was able to do both. Wasn't a great foul shooter, but he was in there rebounding and stuff. Micah Parsons showed that he can ball. Yeah, he can. He talked too much, but he still can ball and whatnot. Yeah. Also, CJ Stroud can do some hooping. So yeah, that it. I don't know if basketball to football can be good, but football to basketball has always been something that we've seen in the past. So yeah, there's that. All right, back to the NBA playoff series so far. We got with the other three matchups with the Pacers and the Knicks. When I say that Pacers-Knicks series has been something, I'm trying to think of the guy's name for the Pacers, the one that threw up the wild shot that gave them the win in Game 3. Because they got different guys, man, and they're coming out. They're coming out hard. Let me see if it comes out. No, it didn't come up. I can't think of his name to save me right now. But that 35-foot shot that he knocked down, man, the prayers were answered in that game. No, it wasn't that. But yeah, I'm just like floored, man, by how that game ended. Andrew Nembhard, that's what his name was. This is what his name is. His name was. But Andrew Nembhard with the prayer. It was a prayer. You couldn't have called it any different than that. A straight prayer, and it went in. And they went back and forth, and it looked like the Knicks were going to go up 3-0. But come on, man, this is a Knicks playoff series. What makes you think, without a shadow of a doubt, that these two teams getting back together is going to be some kind of series? And then the thumping that the Pacers gave in Game 4 is letting you know that this is a series that could really go 7 games. Like these semifinal games could really do well, depending on what Cleveland does against Boston in their Game 4, and of course what Oklahoma City have to respond. Like, we in the midst of some great playoff games, and you didn't need Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Steph Curry to do it. This is competition. This is something that you want to see. This is a youthful movement, and so at this rate now, this is what you want to see. You want to see great games. You want to see the competition levels go back and forth. These young guys are now getting a major opportunity at an NBA championship, right? Everybody's going after, especially in the West, everybody's going after Denver. And then in this case, for the East, it's Boston's opportunity because they were the number 1 seed overall. Everybody's going after Boston to knock them off and get a championship. I get it. A lot of people want to see, oh Lord, that's what I get for looking over. Dan Orlovsky likes to, I think he's starting to really take on his role as the troll in broadcasting now. He's like, well, I can give you easy 30 people. Okay. Now they have to put their money where their mouth is. If you put them out there, they have to get out there in training camp and be on the NBA court and see what they can do. Even playing a preseason game. I want to see what these cats can do if their teams allow them. If these retrospective teams allow their guys to play. That's simple. It's just that simple. All right. Yes, I talked about them. The Pacers, they came back into the series 2 games, and especially Game 4 was huge. I didn't think that the Knicks didn't have like any life like that after, sometimes losses like that can hurt a team. When you lose a close game the way that you did, and then the next game you just like, I don't care. I just want to get back home to New York. But that's But the interesting thing with that series is that all the home teams have won their games. And then in the Minnesota Denver series, all the road teams have won their games. So, like I said, this has been a great playoff. Like, seriously, like, if you haven't been watching it, it's been amazing competition going back and forth, right? Everybody's looking to see if Luka Doncic can get his team at least to the conference finals because he's never been there, right? Trying to kind of overshadow what's going on, with the history of Dirk Nowitzki. They have the team's one and only championship. So I'm gonna show if I can show it. I'll pull it up. Let's see there. See what we're working with here. It's gonna take a moment to come up. There it is. That is the series as we speak. There you can see Thunder Mavericks, Celtics Cavs, but that Mavs Thunder series, I want to see if SGA has to really show me that you should have been the MVP, because to this day, I'm going to say that he should have won MVP over Nikola Jokic. And I get it. A lot of people love Jokic. His game is amazing. There's no disrespect to it. But when a guy takes a team to the number 1 seed in the Western Conference and they're young team, he deserves some recognition. Now, I hope he gets on an all-NBA team. And the first team at that, it's pretty clear he's going to get on it, but it has to be the first team because he played that outstanding this season. So, interesting to see how well they get back into the series. As I see here, tonight the game is for them at 9:30 on the East, and of course Celtics Cavs is on TNT and True TV at 7 in the East. A lot of people have been talking about Jason Tatum in the Celtics Cavs series and how he hasn't shot well, and this has been the lowest of his career for since 2019. Guy's still young, man. Y'all acting like he's like completely in his prime. He's still young, and if you have Jaylen Brown, if you have the team that they have right now and they're still a cohesive unit, I don't see how this Boston Celtics team can't get back to the NBA Finals again. I just can't see that. I can see that, or how I can really see them making the finals. I can see them not making the NBA Finals. That this team really is the team to beat. Like, seriously. I can't see how Cavs don't have all the weapons. Like, if they make the Eastern Conference Finals, I mean, it could be a great series, but if whoever represents, I'm looking for Boston to represent the East in this case. I really am. And if they don't, I don't think the NBA Finals is going to be watchable. And like those other 3 teams, the Pacers, the Knicks, and the Cavs, they competitive. They're competitive, but they aren't the Celtics. And I know folks want to see the Celtics. And see, if Boston and Indiana would be entertaining. I don't know, man. The Knicks, a Celtics Knicks matchup would be just as entertaining too. Because of the 2-story franchises that they are. I get it. That could be entertaining. Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, those guys going back and forth against the tandem of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They have a good bench. Rick Carlisle has been to the finals before. So, yeah, he knows what that's about. Tom Thibodeau has yet to reach a finals as an NBA head coach. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far both of the Knicks and the Pacers can actually get. All right. One more thing before we take a break is the Atlanta Hawks with the NBA draft lottery. They secured the number 1 pick. And I'm sitting back like, how? How, yo? Like, how did you pull this one off? Shout out to Landry Fields, general manager of the Atlanta Hawks. What if I told you this is the first time I done found out that Landry Fields was the general manager? I didn't even know he stopped playing, yo. That's what makes it so bad. But the Atlanta Hawks do have the number 1 pick, and for those in Missouri that remember Quinn Snyder, yeah, they now have the number 1 draft pick. And one thing that you have to understand, if you haven't seen the landscape of the NBA as of late, a lot of foreign players are taking the top spots, are getting more looks than what they were before. Like, I know Doncic was, of course, Victor Wembanyama was the first overall pick last season and won the NBA's Rookie of the Year award. But also, these guys are starting to take the top spots. Look at it now. Embiid, Jokic, Giannis, Wembanyama, Luka. Like, you could almost make an all-world team out of this group. I think I had a conversation with one of our hosts. I think it was Jersey the King. We were having a conversation about an all-world team. Could they match up against a team in the United States if I decided to do an all-star game with the best in the world against the best in the United States? Could they win? Could it be entertaining if they decided to do an exhibition where it was the USA versus the world? I mean, and look at it now. If you look at the world's greatest players of all time, just think about it. Like Hakeem Olajuwon, Dikembe Mutombo, trying to think something off the top of the dome right now. Dominique Wilkins. People don't know. Forget Dominique Wilkins is from France. So France is starting to get a lot of major buzz when it comes to basketball. As a matter of fact, the first name that came to mind was Zakari was Rizaker, I think is his name. Young man from France. Oh my gosh. They say they love his game, and a lot of people saying this is a weak draft. And I mean, weak draft meaning that the names aren't the biggest and the best. But here's a young man, 19 years old, 6'9", and potentially could be the number 1 pick for the Atlanta Hawks. Will they shop the pick? See if they can get more of it. Because San Antonio, I think San Antonio is going to continue on this realm of foreign-born players. They starting to pick up because that's how Greg Popovich works. That's how he works out. You know what I mean? It's like the craziest thing. It's the craziest thing to me, like how he's making rebuilding his team. This is the top 4 that's in order, and this is by Shams. You see Atlanta, Washington, my Houston Rockets, and San Antonio Spurs. So you got 2 Texas teams in the top 4 in the NBA draft for this year. Of course, Washington is in it, and Atlanta. Now, what happened to Detroit? Detroit can't catch a break. Like, they're going to have to utilize the NFL's draft order. Like, the worst team in the league should get the number 1 pick. But then if you do that, a lot of teams will tend to tank, and then it'll have a better chance of getting the number 1 pick anyway. But maybe this is a blessing in disguise, because if what's being said that this draft is very weak, then maybe they don't want to get the number 1 pick here. Maybe they want to get something a little bit lower. I know when it comes down to this draft, anything could go. And I hope it won't be like the 2001 draft. A lot of people did not like that draft. Kenyon Martin being the top pick, and I think Mike Miller won, or it was 2000. 2000. Mike Miller won Rookie of the Year, and Kenyon Martin was the number one overall pick. Wow, that was almost 25 years ago. The more we think about it, shoot, I remember Kenyon Martin in Cincinnati when he broke his leg, and a lot of people questioned would he even be a top draft pick in the NBA. And sure enough, the New Jersey Nets said, "Yeah, we'll make him a top pick." But yeah, that draft lottery, you never know who's going to be the number one pick. The Bulls had a 2% chance, and they got number 11. Atlanta Hawks had a 3% chance, and they get the number one pick. My goodness. All right. I'm going to come back after the break, and when I do, if I can find it, there it is. I'll touch a bit on opening the season tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. So you stay tuned. We're going to come back after the break with more of the A Train Show. It's Association Monday. We'll be back right after this.
Houston, we've triumphed. I've made it back to Earth with the cargo intact. The game-changing, time-sensitive payload is none other than the revolutionary energy flavor we've all been waiting for. Introducing Merc Mayhem Cherry Limeade. Merc Clan played a crucial role in securing this energy flavor, and together we've unlocked the future of power. Merc Mayhem is not just a drink, it's a statement, a fusion of relentless energy and bold flavor. The secret is out. Merc Mayhem is set to redefine the energy landscape, leaving ordinary drinks in its cosmic dust. Get ready for a taste explosion that matches Merc Clan's unparalleled power. Join the revolution, and let's unleash Merc Mayhem upon the world. Astronaut M signing off.
Welcome back to the A Train Show on the A Train Arlington Lane. WNBA. My goodness. WNBA drops tomorrow. Got a good slate of games opening up the season. 4 matchups drop tomorrow. Of course, everybody's going to be tuning in to that first game, the Indiana Fever against the Connecticut Sun. And the reason why that's the case is because It's because of the debut of Caitlin Clark. Ta-da! Let me put myself inside of the logo. Don't get me for it. Don't get me for it, okay? The W goes down tomorrow, but that's not the first game. The first game is the New York Liberty and Washington Mystics, and you can catch that on League Pass. And if you have ESPN3, you can get that. So they're going to have games on that network. Of course, you can grab it through League Pass. A lot of people was heated that you couldn't catch the preseason games on you can catch the games at all, like not even through League Pass. And so I think more and more people want to see what the W is going to look like for 2024, and you'll get your opportunity to see that tomorrow with the first game, New York Liberty versus the Washington Mystics. And if you are a bettor, they given the Washington Mystics 13 points. 13 points. Well, it's at 12.5 if you are a betting person. And even with the Indiana Fever and Connecticut Sun game, they are giving the Fever 5.5. And yeah, I think it was Saturday. I hope I get this. I would love to see her play live too. You know what I mean? Don't matter where they're playing. So, and if what happens in the WNBA this season does lead to growth, you saw that the league is going to expand. They're going to expand in San Francisco. They're going to expand in Toronto the following year. Get Houston back. Listen to me again. Get Houston back. It's time for the Comets to make their triumph and return back. If it goes 5 times bigger than it did before, I hope it goes at least 3 times to begin, but everybody's going to want to see that first game. I'm going to want to see that first game on Tuesday night. And then, of course, I'm going to watch the nightcap with the very first Las Vegas Aces game. I'm going to catch both games tomorrow because they open up their championship season going for a three-peat. Those Las Vegas Aces and A'ja Wilson, who got her new shoe deal that's coming out for next year. So those that have been crying about A'ja Wilson getting her shoe deal, she got it. So relax. Nike made it known, okay? They heard your cries. So she'll get her signature shoe beginning next year. And so they open up their season against Brittany Griner, Diana Taurasi, and the Phoenix Mercury. These opening games should be the biggest ones out there. And listen, the WNBA for the last 26 years hasn't been the competition hasn't been the best, but the marketing hadn't been the best. You had to go back down to the early 2000s and the late 90s. The way that they built that league in the beginning, that was marketing. That was marketing. Like when they brought in the little girls coming in, and shout out to Kyla Pratt. She came in, and I can't think of the other girl's name. She used to be on the Amanda Show. She did that documentary not too long ago. She was part of that. And that campaign, that advertising campaign what made me watch the WNBA, right? So it needs to get back to that. And I know they had a lady doing the campaign, the advertising campaign now, where it was like, welcome to the W. But can we get the little girls back in? You can do a new version of that. Maybe they'll do that for their 30th anniversary or so. I don't know. But we need, or even bring them back as adults, and that would be a cool advertising campaign. Either bring their kids into the mix if they have daughters. I know Kyla Pratt has a couple of daughters, and they bring them into the advertising. I'm giving y'all plans here. Listen, all right, I'm giving y'all some opportunities to make this thing work, or bring the adults that did it when they were kids, bring them back into play, and boom, you got an advertising campaign. Maybe they'll do it for, like I said, a milestone anniversary. But yeah, that's what the major thing was. The advertising campaign wasn't the strongest. And so now when you have a draft class like a Caitlin Clark, a Cameron Brink, Angel Reese, Qualioso, and this is the strongest group that's coming into play. And it just seemed like there are going to be more ladies that is going to want to get into this league. And that's going to make the demand a bit higher for not just fans, but for the league itself. You're going to need more teams because girls are going to want to play. So that also means for the WNBA, increase your salaries. You got to increase the salaries because you don't want a similar situation than what happened to Brittany Griner the last time. And guess what? Is when I sit here, everybody blamed her for what she did in Russia. I blame the league because they weren't paying her. She had to go overseas to go play for some more money. She wouldn't have to do that if the WNBA was paying their players. She wouldn't even have to go. But because of that, they got to find more money outside. And I love that the W is making noise right now. This is perfect. I'm finna get my niece into the WNBA. So she can see that these girls are out there and they balling. She has interest in playing basketball. But I want her to watch it too. And the biggest draw is going to have to be the women because men is watching. The NBA players are watching. Right? And believe it or not, Angel Reese is really coming into her own with this league. Like when I say the W made, and I know a lot of people look at the Met Gala as just some glorified party where everybody dresses up and, you know, they just show their crazy outfits and whatnot. To have a WNBA player as a rookie getting into the Met Gala and showcasing what she's able to do shows signs that this league has bigger legs than people want to give it. And I really do believe, like Jeremy says here, these women are great role models for these young ladies. Let's see, it says increased salaries are coming out. Trust me, more money is coming into the W, so now more money will start going to these women. When you are having to move games to different arenas, bigger arenas, because more people want to see who they want to see, do it. Maybe they'll play in the bigger arenas in the long run. Maybe the Chicago Sky won't have to play at UIC. They can play at the United Center. Maybe the Aces don't have to play at Michelob Ultra. They can play at T-Mobile Arena. And then, from what I've heard, they are going to play some games at T-Mobile Arena. So that's right. Let's put them in bigger venues, because if you're banking off of what happened with the college basketball season and you saw the growth and you saw how the competition level was through the roof. And honestly, this is my thing, WNBA. If you're gonna have ESPN, I need Elle Duncan, Andrea Carter, and Chanae. I know Chanae plays, but when she's not playing, put her on the telecast, man. At least Andrea Carter and Elle Duncan, because those ladies, when they did the college, when they did the NCAA women's tournament, I agree with everybody on social media. That team worked together. That was a cohesive unit. No disrespect to Carolyn Peck, because she's an amazing analyst as well, and she had been a coach for years. She even coached in the W. And I think I can't think of LaChina Robinson. She's amazing as well. And I think she'll probably be doing that. Rebecca Lobo will be doing her thing behind in the broadcast booth. But those two ladies, I had to see them like every week, like pregame, postgame. Let's start doing pregame and postgame shows. You know what I mean? I think they can match up just like inside the NBA. Maybe not to a degree like how they do things, because they say things that they will not say on the ESPN telecast at all. But I'm saying, like, that will be a highly entertaining show for women and us men that's watching it, because we want to see it. I hate to even bring this guy's name into play here, but he made, can't believe I'm saying this, he made a valid point. Jason Whitlock of the Blaze, he was saying that, the ladies these days, the beautification of the WNBA is strong. And to some degree, I do believe what he says. I really don't like the dude. But you know how you have a guy that you don't like, and he will make a valid point that will be like, I can't stand the sight of you. I can't stand listening to your voice, but you make a valid point here. And that's no disrespect to all the ladies that's playing in the league now. It's just that you're going to get more eyeballs on the product. And like Jeremy had said with the role models, these are great role models for these young ladies. Says starting with the charter flights and these stars coming in and helping the popularity of the W. The NBA has been that backbone for the W. Like the NBA athletes, the major ones have pushed the product. LeBron has, Kevin Durant has. So Steph Curry has done so. Let's not forget what happened at the All-Star game with Steph versus Sabrina when they did the 3-point contest. That was cool. And it just goes to show you that NBA players believe in the WNBA too. And I know a lot of people talk about how, they have been saved by the NBA, and, you didn't know whether the league was going to last, when teams start dropping. They still moving. They still moving, as you can see. Still moving smoothly. Maybe under the radar. They were under the radar beforehand, but now the lights are shown bright on this league. And I got to say, this is something really special coming into play here for years to come. I think this league can really sustain if they do this correctly. And it's going to make more women basketball players want to play in the WNBA. Because you can best believe there was questions on, one, whether the league could sustain, two, whether they were going to be paid well, three, how they marketed them. And they trying to slowly bring back the fans back to the league, and it's going to take small steps. I know right now the W's demand is really high, and they can't do everything that they can do right now because of that high demand, which is a good problem to have. This is a very good problem to have. When you want to go to a restaurant and it's a brand new restaurant and everybody's talking about it and you can't get in the door, you have to wait till another day to get back in. That's a good thing for the restaurant, because you still want to go, and you hate that you couldn't get in the door at that moment because it's so packed. Or sometimes you'll wait. And these fans are waiting. They're waiting to see how far that this league can go, and they want to see it grow continuously, way better than it did in the past. All right. I'm going to end this show a little early today because, you know what? I was trying to make it to an hour, but I'm like, no, I'm good here. I am really good here. I think on Wednesday, because it's Wrestling Wednesday, and definitely going to touch a bit about what's going on in that, and then I'm going to give you news of what's going on in other sports But definitely want to talk about the latest in wrestling. All right, so I'm going to wrap this show up right here. Right here. This is a good stopping point. You may have tuned in on X. You may have tuned in on YouTube. You may have tuned in on Facebook. And you may have tuned in on the Fuel Sports Network app on your Roku TV devices, or your Roku devices, your Roku TVs, and your Amazon Fire Stick. Got some great things coming up at the network. Woo! Morning show is supposed to be coming soon. That's all I can say about that. But make sure you tune into all of our great content here at the network. Tonight, of course, we got Smoking Guns at 7. We got, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Then we got The Bottom Line at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Then tomorrow, the X-Fan show, I'll be there at 11. I got to get these times together, folks. 11 Eastern. And then we got all the great programming on Tuesday night, Gridiron Nation. You just got to tune into the network. Seriously, we got great product going, and you never know what you may catch on Fuel Sports Network. All right, so just for a little while, this is the A Train Arlington Lane. I see y'all on Wednesday for another edition. Oh yeah, there we go. The new Paranormal Guys premieres tonight. We Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern until some other thing. I'm hoping nothing changes, but there might be some changes. But right now, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So I'm here for your noon hour. All right. So the Paranormal Guys premieres tonight at 7 Eastern, right before Smoking Guns, and then The Bottom Line jumps off at 9 o'clock. All right. So I'll catch y'all for another edition of the A Train Show. A Train signing off.